Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload will be talking about this winter storm that is ongoing already across the United States and will be continuing to progress. Really, it's just beginning to start up right now. The precipitation has blossomed on this radar. You can see right here over the last 2 to 3 hours. We have a long night ahead of us. And we'll be going over the details. Heavy snow, very strong winds, and potentially a very active pattern to follow that. This system is going to be very slow moving, so it will drop snow in some locations, possibly upwards to a foot of snow. If you guys enjoy this channel, I'm a hobbyist, I'm a weather enthusiast, consider subscribing, and if you are a returning viewer or just like this video, consider giving a thumbs up. It always helps out and is an amazing thing to do. Otherwise, let's start talking about this winter storm. Alright, let's begin by looking at the radar. This is my local WGN Chicago weather station radar, if you will. It does a very good job of showing it, and very easy to load. Notice that this takes us back all the way to 11:35 in the morning, actually a bit earlier, 11:25, so this is well over 6 hours. And notice that we initially saw quite a bit of snow across Minnesota into Wisconsin, right? Minneapolis picked up around 1 inch of snow. Further up north, 2 to 3 inches so far. Again, this is just the first wave. Notice what happens, however. We have a bit of rain right here that kind of dissipates, but it's this cold front, if you will, that just starts developing rather intensely. It has already developed, and look at it. So this is 12:20 today, Central Standard Time. Notice snow in Omaha, or especially north and northeast. Notice that we did see rain in Des Moines. That transitioned over to snow as of now. Notice that what we see is this right here exploding in terms of precipitation, and that will continue to do so. Notice it's adding snow. There's another connected area of snow already in Wisconsin. The temperatures have been rather warm, and you can see that it has been definitely trending towards that rainier side across Illinois and Wisconsin. Will that continue to occur into the evening? How fast that transition will occur is going to determine a lot of these amounts for Illinois, Wisconsin, and even into Iowa. But at this point, it looks, you can see right there, that most of Iowa has transitioned over to generally snowfall. Already these convective snow showers starting to develop, rain showers, snow showers. Once the system gets really wound up and stacks with that stacks with the upper air low and the surface low, it will really start spinning a lot of these things up. But notice what this does, right? It has this cold front. Let's just play this motion. What we see is this developing right here. So for those locations in Minneapolis, right, Minnesota, into central northern Minnesota, Iowa, all these locations, into Missouri as well, there could be some heavier amounts, and into Wisconsin, this precipitation slug will move off and move in this direction and just continuously feed moisture into this area, and then spin around and then exit out here over the weekend, over a very long period of time. This thing is going to be here for a while. Now, notice that for northern Illinois, it is raining quite a bit. The temperatures are a bit warmer than they thought they would be. But notice there is quite a bit of rain to the south, right? And there definitely will be a bit of snow, but how much is at this point very still uncertain. I wouldn't say, you're going to be anywhere 6 inches, anywhere close to that, or even 4 inches across the Chicago area. But extreme northern Illinois may pick up on some heavier amounts. This is the Minneapolis Webcam. Notice it's not snowing right now. It was snowing. I looked at it earlier on in the day. This was all snowy. They have cleared it. Notice snow piles. They are pretty impressive already. And, the brunt of the system is yet to come. If we were to take a look at the snowfall accumulations as of right now, the highest amounts are at 3.5 inches, and that's around northern central Minnesota. Again, expect to see more snowfall out of this. Notice that Minneapolis got around really a half an inch and above. Further to the north, there were some higher amounts. Notice towards Princeton, Minnesota, 2 inches, and then the higher amounts right there, right in the north woods. Again, these are pretty small compared to what will be falling across these areas. Let's take a glance at this future. Let's start off by actually quickly going to the National Weather Service. I do want to say that for those that were laughing at me saying that there wouldn't be blizzard warnings, I mean, you can see that they have issued blizzard warnings, the National Weather Service, for a very, very large amount of Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, even into portions of Missouri. So, yeah, it was definitely fair to call this a blizzard. So those that were laughing in the comments, just think twice before doing that next time. So notice that blizzard conditions expected Thursday night through Friday. Again, that snow, some people are wondering, what blizzard? Again, blizzard doesn't necessarily mean very heavy snow. There needs to be snow either falling or on the ground. There could be, half an inch, but as long as it's reducing visibilities to a certain measure with very strong winds for a certain amount of time, it's a blizzard warning. And notice that that's in effect, right? Des Moines, Iowa, the capital of Iowa, is right now under a blizzard warning. Notice that the amounts are rather impressive: 8 to 12, 8 to 12, 6 to 8, Des Moines 6 to 8, northwest winds of 30 to 40 with gusts as high as 50. Again, notice that regardless of snow totals, it will be very impactful just because of the blowing. High-profile vehicles will be having a hard time with this. And these are the wind gusts, obviously decreasing quite a bit as you go towards the eastern half of Iowa, but the western half is just a completely different story, reaching into the 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Notice we have winter weather advisories all the way into southern Missouri. This has been probably the biggest change since yesterday and 2 days ago. A lot more of this has occurred where there could be quite a bit of snow even across Missouri. You can see 2 to 3, 3 to 4, probably the biggest of the year, maybe for, say, cities like Columbia, which haven't seen that much. Kansas City is not under a blizzard warning as the winds won't be that strong, but they are expected to see some snow. Let's just take a look at the winter storm. Notice anywhere from 2 to 3, maybe even 2 to 4 inches, especially across northern Missouri and to portions of southern Iowa. Now, again, the wind gusts will be strong. They don't have a blizzard warning, but they will be rather significant regardless. Now, taking a look at Minneapolis, they are not under a winter storm warning. I think that that may be a bit of a close call. Notice they're under winter weather advisory. I think you will see over 6 inches. It's just that it will be over a longer period of time. So the National Weather Service is like, let's not do a winter storm warning, since in order for that to happen, you need 6 inches in 24 hours. And, if you get 6 inches from today and into tomorrow late at night, that's going to be a bit more than 24 hours, especially since you have already seen some snow earlier on today. Green Bay, for those locations, I want to try going over as many as I can here. Notice what we have, generous amounts of snow. While it's not anything what we're seeing in Iowa or southern Minnesota, 3 to 4 inches, that could almost double some of these snowfalls locations for these. It could double the snowfall for some of these locations. They haven't seen much snow really this year. Milwaukee, again, it could be one of those things that is more impressive than initially thought, or a bit less than impressive. There is, I think, mainly a rain threat for the Chicago area, but once it moves into southeastern Wisconsin, I think that a lot of this could be snow. And notice how they say mainly rain east of this line. It's tough to say. I don't think the lake will have that big of an impact on this on these locations right here. Last time it was a similar thing. They called it, and it wasn't because of the lake that kept it warm. So I don't know. I would say if Juneau's going to see 1 to 3 anywhere, these locations should also be seeing similar amounts, and it could overproduce. Chicago area, I know I have a lot of Chicagoans watching. Notice that they did quite significantly decrease these amounts, and little to no accumulation. Again, I think there will be some. I think this is a underestimate that's pretty foolish, but regardless, that's what they say. I mean, I'm not saying that they should put 2-3 inches here, but at least the coating. I mean, goodness, some models show 3 to 4 inches still, so that's a bit risky that they put that there. Again, going back to the radar, we have this system progressing fairly nicely. Notice that again, it doesn't show any signs of weakening. It has strengthened over the last few hours. The snow continues to transition over, or the rain continues to transition over to snow rather quickly across northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. Let's start looking at some of these high resolution models, as that's really what I wanted to look at. These global models are at this point, they've done their job at the first, several days out, if you will. At this point, it's the high res that are gonna prove any trend or anything that may happen in the future significant. So notice Wisconsin again. This is a bit more filled in, quite a bit more filled in on a backside than what the Hearn model shows. It does generally a good job with what it's showing across Illinois. Notice what it does show is a bit of that transition over to snow, right? I would not be surprised if there will be a bit less or a bit more depending on the rain snow situation. But notice for say Milwaukee, it shows all snow and several good hours of that snowfall. I think it may be a bit overdoing these cold temperatures, so there may be a bit more rain mixing in. However, I think this is still a very good portrayal. Notice it just shoots this precipitation back into Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Cloud, St. Paul, maybe Duluth even. Des Moines, Iowa, seeing snow out of this. Obviously, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, kind of on that cusp, right? Notice what we do see is these showers starting to develop. While they look measly and isolated, they will be isolated. They are not weak. They are strong, and they could deliver a punch if they develop sufficiently. Now, notice this digs well into Missouri, towards St. Louis, right? We have very, very strong winds, and this continues to spout these little showers on the backside. Snow moves into Michigan. Notice some areas this cold front could kind of stall out and produce decent amounts of snow. So this is through around 10 a.m. tomorrow, right? Total snowfall accumulations. Let's take a glance at this. Notice what we have. Generous amounts, still not over across Iowa. It's still snowing and will be snowing for a good portion of Friday, the daylight hours at least. Notice 5, 6, 7 inches, if not a bit more at that time. So that's the Hearn model. It's very far out to look, or 48 hours, which comes out every 6 hours, every 6th hour on the model run. Notice it shows these showers, obviously, and then let me just go back to the radar range /frozen, take this out to hour 10. Sorry about this jumping around, but there's a lot of things to show. Notice it shows this cold front mixing in with snow, delivering a bit of precipitation, right? Milwaukee, Green Bay, I think that will be mainly snow. Notice this thing, again, pummels that snow into Minnesota, Iowa, right there, those convective showers, quite potent at times. I would not be surprised to see those deliver some snowfall amounts, maybe even higher than from that first wave. Notice this cold front kind of stalls out here, continues to drive those showers, and look at that right there, well into Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas with that snow. And this band stays relatively organized, and you can see could potentially drop a bit more snow into, say, oh, look at that, late Friday, early Saturday. It moves into Illinois and maybe Indiana, southeastern Wisconsin. And then we see continued showers on the backside, which will move in. In terms of the Northeast, let's take a look at that. Northeast United States, hour 9. Let's put this forward as it's not up to date, or sorry, it's not there yet. So let's speed this ahead. Notice Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, right? Initially starting off with some snow, especially, Pittsburgh may even pick up a few inches from this. Same goes with Cleveland if the snow's a bit more ready to transition. Notice what we see is a lot of snow and rain. Rain for the coastal areas, snow for the higher elevated and into further up north. Again, decent amounts of snow for sure. Notice some of the snow wrapping around into portions of northeastern Michigan. Some snow showers getting well into North Carolina, Virginia. Total snowfall from that event looks, again, pretty good, especially for those higher elevated areas. It does show a bit of a rain right there event, diminishing those snowfall amounts. Look at that. Southern Canada also picking up quite a bit of snow, something to watch for. Now, the NAM 12KM, right? So this is what it shows through the lifetime of its system across the Northeast. You can see generous amounts for most of the upstate Northeast. The Midwest, it shows generous amounts. Yet again, notice even some amounts into Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. Not bad, right? Missouri, 3 to 4 inches. Let's take a look at the NAM 3KM. Generally the same, just a bit more high res, so it picks up on those little showers. Look at that, Minnesota, Iowa, seeing those, I would say up to a foot of snow is possible, if not likely. Now notice, taking a look at the Canadian high res model, we see that this is through the event of this whole, or the entirety of this whole system. You see it does not show bad amounts. 3, 4 inches across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and obviously peaking in snowfall amounts across these locations. Then notice it continues adding on snow across Sunday. On Sunday across the Midwest. This is something to watch for, as this looks very measly by the weather models, but it could actually be producing a bit more snow if you get some lake enhancement as well from the Midwest. Notice we do have another clipper moving in from that, from Canada, so that could be dropping more additional chances. let's go back to the regions, right? And generally, again, a pretty good snowfall event with this system. It has wicked winds. For some locations, a very, very heavy snowfall event, up to a foot of snow. So, if that falls in Minneapolis, that would be a significant event. Let's look at the HR DPS. I'm just wanting to show you as many models so you can make up your opinions. Notice that, again, shows snow into Wisconsin, Illinois with that system. It is it is at around, right now, it is 5, so it's at around this stage, and that's about right what it shows on a radar. Notice again, the snow transition continues to occur as I was recording this video. Look at that, it's speeding into northern Illinois. So again, I think that will be the trend, especially into southern Wisconsin. That should be mainly a good amount of snow transitioning. So HR DPS, notice, shows that snow, right? For pretty far to the north in Wisconsin, starts that shower across the Illinois area into Iowa, Minnesota, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, seeing that snowfall. Omaha kind of on that line between the heavier amounts. Notice Michigan, Ohio with this model showing quite a bit of that snow versus that rain scenario, so that could even be a few inches for Detroit if that formalizes. Now notice again, showers continue through much of the day, right? And we see this system be actually pretty impressive for even the Chicago area into overnight Saturday. I'm dropping a few inches of snow if this were to do as forecast right here. A bit of lake effect as well, lake enhancement. So definitely not something that is too weak. Regardless, notice snowfall amounts, not bad in general. I think these amounts are still underdone by most models. From these models, that's all I wanted to show you. The European, I think I showed you the European, right? Yeah, I showed you the European. This is what it shows. You can see generous amounts across, again, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan. Again, further north in Michigan, the better. Detroit, though, southern Michigan may get that chance for seeing more of a snow scenario. If that occurs, again, the storm has proven to be a challenging system. It's still uncertain, what it does next. Let's take a glance at the RAP, a very high-res short-range model. Notice what it shows in the short range, decent amounts across southern Wisconsin, and then it, continues exploding those amounts rather quickly. So it's something to watch for sure. And this is assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. Initially, this snow will be falling as a 10-to-1 or even a lower than 10-to-1 ratio. But then by the end, this will be more of a higher snowfall ratio, especially across the west. So I would not be surprised to see some of these amounts across western Iowa approaching already up to 8-9 inches by tomorrow noon. And again, that system will still be raging at that time. So that's the RAP. Let me just play it out for you using the reflectivity, right? Notice it puts a lot of precip, rain into those locations across Illinois, Indiana, but snow further into Wisconsin where that system transitions. Notice, really dumping a lot of snow into Missouri, Iowa. Nebraska just takes a full spin. Again, that could be a bit more snow or rain. If it's more snow, that could even produce, again, as I mentioned, several inches for Detroit, if not more of a rain event. Notice, again, that's what we have with this system tomorrow in the afternoon at around, I'll say, 2-3 o'clock. Now, let's take a look at one more model I wanted to take a look at is the United Kingdom meteorological model. UK Met. Notice it does show similar things, right? So generally heaviest amounts across Minnesota. Again, there's still a lot of uncertainty, right? And I'm going over these models just to show you. I'm going over the radar, my thoughts. I think, some locations could be isolated, even approaching, that 12 to 18 mark. So maybe close to 13, 14 inches. I would not be surprised if there's 1 or 2 reports like that. I don't think that will be a widespread thing. However, again, if these snowfall rates are heavy and the ratios are also pretty high, especially towards the latter part of the system, that could definitely prove to be efficient snowmaker. Notice right now it's really snowing across Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and it's beginning to fill in very nicely around Madison, Oshkosh, Wausau, and Rochester. So that will continue to do so. Notice Iowa seeing some good amounts of snow continuing across Sioux Falls. Look at that. Those are wind-whipped showers across the Dakotas developing. So that, again, is definitely delivering snow, but also mainly wind with that threat. So that's impressive. Notice that, again, the transition to snow is occurring rather quickly. So don't be surprised to see a bit more snow with this across certain locations, but also don't be surprised to see a bit less if this takes a longer time. All right, that is basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, stay tuned to the National Weather Service. It's your best source. And in terms of their snowfall outlook, this model shows us what the National Weather Service thinks will happen in terms of snowfall amounts. Again, they are leaning towards the heaviest amounts across Minnesota, Iowa, but I would not be surprised. I mean, based on how heavy the snow right now is occurring across Dubuque and it points a bit eastward and or surrounding, to see heavier amounts, maybe 4 to 5 inches instead of 3 to 2. So I do think that these amounts are a bit underrepresented. Regardless, it was a tricky system to forecast, and it will continue to be tricky. So this thing's far from being over with. Again, the worst conditions will be into the overnight hours, and expect this to continue being a beast. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.